Before I introduce our speaker, I have to tell you a little bit. The last time they allowed me to sit with the mayor was about last year. And I wanted to get to him and talk to him about this particular road. And it was Holdridge. And Holdridge was not going to be resurfaced. And when I was driving around showing houses, and one of my clients said, "Marsha, why are these roads so bad? Especially this road between 70th and 79th on Holdridge, it was just terrible." And I says, I was so embarrassed I didn't know what to say. And so I told him, I says, "Well, you know, we really think this is part of the Oregon Trail, and we're trying to preserve the rest." And so I wanted to get a hold of the mayor. And so I did get to speak to him just a little bit about it. And so I really take, and it's resurfaced. And so I want to take responsibility. Anyway, I tell everybody that it was my doing that we got Holdridge resurfaced. So I applaud you for that. But now, let me tell you about our speaker. We are pleased to welcome Mayor Chris Beutler to today's Members' Luncheon. Mayor Beutler is a native of Nebraska who has devoted his life to serving the city of Lincoln and the people of Nebraska. For many of you here today, your first meeting with our mayor may have been through the title industry, and mine was. For 15 years, Chris worked in the title industry. He started, grew, and sold his own business, Beutler Title. Following a distinguished career as a state legislator, he was elected mayor of Lincoln May 1st of 2007 and re-elected this past May. Let's give him a warm Realtors welcome, Lincoln's Mayor Chris Beutler.
Thank you, Marcia. I think. But I will confirm for all of you that the only reason 70th Street got paved is because of Marcia. Well, thank you very much for having me here today. I think maybe it's the second or third time you've had occasion to invite me out, and I've enjoyed it each time, and each time it gives me an opportunity to hear from you a little bit too. And we'll do that today also. I have some prepared remarks I'd like to make, but we'll certainly open it up to questions and answers after that, or at least we'll open it up to questions, and I'll see what I can do about answers. But before we kind of wade into that, I thought you might just like to know what I've done today. I tell you, life is always interesting for me. This is the fourth meeting, so to speak, that I've had today. And I started out meeting with the Chamber of Commerce. We meet regularly, a couple times a month, coordinating activities, most of which have to do, of course, with economic development. Planning who's going to visit what local businesses to see what they're doing and what they might need from city or private sources to grow and do better in the city. Today we were starting to plan a trip out to the East Coast to talk to headquarters people related to businesses that we have in Lincoln. We do that once or twice a year. And so that's kind of a regular part of my routine, paying attention to economic development and working with the Chamber and REAL and other groups on those kinds of issues. Then I make the big switch mentally to thinking about our civic plaza, the new 13th and P Street plaza that will be there right catty-corner from Wells Fargo Bank. That will follow the construction of the new building there between 13th and 14th and bordering Q Street. And the discussion today was about design versus functionality. I had some artists on one side arguing about aesthetics and design, and downtown association people talking about the functionality of the space and what they wanted to do in the space and how those two things fit together. I don't know why you'd be interested in that, but I just wanted you to know life is interesting, you know, working with these different kinds of people. And then the third meeting was the beginning of a series of meetings that we'll have with department heads. In this case, it was the health department. 4 years ago, when I first ran for office, I had each of the department heads come in and tell me what their goals and objectives were and their performance measures for everything they would like to get done in the next 4 years. And at that point, the very beginning, I had some ideas and inputs into several things, but by and large, I worked from the continuing efforts of the departments. Now, at the end of 4 years, we're doing this all over again, and also looking back at what they said 4 years ago to see how well they're doing. And I'm blending in more input into their goals and objectives for the next 4 years, since I've been around for a while and have some thoughts about their goals and objectives. So we will go through a series of 15 meetings, taking the departments one by one and setting the stage for what will play out in the next 4 years in those departments. And the health department was today, and I'm pleased to report that dog bites have gone down in the city. But more seriously, and to say a few things that I just believe to be very important, I want to talk about a couple of things. And to drop back and give you a little background, I compare a lot in recent days the federal government to our local city government. You know, as the nation enters the presidential election season, you and I are reminded nightly by candidates and by spokespersons for the major political parties about the state of our national discourse. Having just experienced the mayoral election, Lincoln, of course, has finished a broad discussion on the state of our own city. And I think the contrast between those kinds of discussions, between those two discussions, is very startling. The lack of civil dialogue and consensus at the national level, I think you would agree, has made progress very difficult. Those centrist leaders that reach across the partisan divide seem to have been relegated to the pages of history. Their willingness to compromise for the good of the nation is scorned by overly partisan ideologues who now seem to control the national debate. Fortunately, this is not the Lincoln way. Yeah, we have partisanship from time to time. We disagree on policy from time to time. But our differences do not define us. Our differences are not the end game. Our vision of the future is what it's all about, and I think we keep that in perspective here in Lincoln. We've chosen a path together, all together, and figured out a means to amicably settle our disputes in this town. I believe that that contrast in governing styles is leading indeed to a contrast in results. Nationally, unemployment remains stubbornly high. The stock market has sustained a string of losses. A solution to the national debt eludes us. Some fear another recession is just around the corner. The number of Americans living under the poverty line has grown to its highest level in modern times. But locally, Lincoln enjoys the third lowest unemployment rate in the nation. Building cranes again grace our horizons as new projects, both public and private, create growth investment and new jobs. Every month seems to bring new accolades from national analysts concerning Lincoln's quality of life and business environment. Everyone who sells Lincoln, like